You see, someone once said that the only way you can tell that learning has occurred is if there's a change. So imagine if you take the certifications and you go back to work and then you have to show everybody that, you guys, you know that I've gotten certified? Have you seen my PHRI plaque? I just got from certification. Do you have to show them that you're certified? How about your work changes? How about there's something different about what you do? How about when people look at you and somebody asks you and says, but this is not how you used to do things before. What has changed? And you're able to say, you know what, I'm now a HRCI certification holder. I have learned new things. I've gotten a paradigm shift. Things are going to change in what I'm doing right now, and you're going to see them. So we don't want to show them. You don't want to just hold a certification. Are you just a certification holder? Or are you someone that, even through your life, they can see that something has actually changed? And for that, we're going to go through the HRCI Code of Ethical and Professional Responsibility. So the Code of Ethics is adopted to promote and maintain the highest standards. So we have the global body, the HRCI, and they're saying, we don't want to do things half-heartedly. We're not going to do things just at the barest minimum. We're going to go to the highest levels of service. We're not mediocre. So if you're going to hold a certification, you need to be able to stand behind your certification and say, yes, I hold that certification. It is the highest level of service and conduct for all persons that have earned any of its certifications. So again, as I said, a lot of organizations have their sets of core values and guiding principles. And so there are no misinterpretations, so you don't think, do they mean this? Because sometimes a lot of people like to argue about the Bible or the Quran and say, do they actually mean that? So that does not occur. So you don't start to get to fights and blows, and then people are like, well, what are we actually saying? Because of that, we have it very, very clearly stated here. So those holding an HRCI certification institute credential should commit to the following. And the first is professional responsibility, professional development, ethical leadership, fairness and justice, the rules of conflicts of interest, and the use of information. So under professional responsibility, you are responsible for adding value to the organizations you serve and contributing to the ethical success of those organizations. So whenever you join a company, either you've joined them for the first time or you're continuing after you've gotten your certification, you must add value to the organization. You must be able to show HR contribution to the organization. And that's why we have metrics and analytics, to be able to say, not look at HR as a cost center anymore. Because a lot of people now think, hire, fire, and all of that. But the HRCI is looking at from the global perspective that we've gone a long way from, distinguishing ourselves from the hire and fire days to now partnering with the business to grow and achieve organizational goals. So we now have metrics and analytics to bring it back to the contribution that HR actually does or makes in very, very quantifiable terms. You accept professional responsibility for your individual decisions and actions. Do we comply with the law? Are your policies that you make in your organizations, do they actually comply with the law? Are they to the highest standards of the HR profession? You are also an advocate for the HR profession by engaging in activities that enhance its credibility and value. Do we do things that, make the HR profession seem worthy of emulation? Do we do things in our organizations to make people see that, I'd like to actually work in the HR department? Do we do things that people look at us and say, this HR self, they are just somehow? Do we make the HR profession so great that so many people are wanting to be a part of this family? So professional development. As an HRCI certification holder, you must strive to meet the highest standards of competence and commit. So the recertification process, for example, is one of the great ways that HRCI has put into consideration so that we continue to grow our competence, to develop competencies for the future. We know that the world is running somewhere. Are we ready for where the world is going? Are we prepared for where the world is going? To have the highest level of competence, to not just sit back and say, I've gotten my PHRI, what else is there again? Do we continue to see what is happening in the HR profession, and not just the HR profession? Because the HRCI also says to understand things that are related and unrelated to the HR profession. So we don't limit ourselves and say, I'm a HR person, what does technology have to do with me? What does all this have to do with me? No information can ever be wasted. You never know when it will come into internet. And a lot of times, we also need to understand from the business perspective. So not just understanding HR as a HR streamlined service, but also understanding it from where the business is going, and then so we can also partner with the business to achieve results. Ethical leadership. You are expected to exhibit individual leadership as a role model for maintaining the highest standards of ethical conduct. So if there's any issue of ethics that you're saying, you know what, is this proper or not, then HRCI says seek higher alternative. Seek someone that is more experienced than you. If there's any, is this it or is this not it, then seek somebody else, an alternative that you know is a lot higher than you. Fairness and justice. As an HRCI Certification Institute certification holder, you are ethically responsible for promoting and fostering fairness and justice for all employees and the organizations. Under you, there should be no discrimination, no harassment. Do you actually understand the intrinsic worth of every individual? Are you able to understand where everybody's coming from? Do you have compassion for the people around you? Do you make sure that you keep a space that is full of diversity, but also inclusive? That is what HRCI is saying, that there should be fairness and justice. There should be a perceived equality between everybody in every individual that is in the organization. Conflicts of interest. You must maintain a high level of trust with stakeholders. You must protect the interests of those stakeholders as well as your professional integrity. Are you one to do things for your personal gain? We all have that cousin that we know is unemployable, that you know yourself that if you own that company, you will not employ him. But then you know that they're looking for somebody and then you quickly put the guy's name in and then the guy is employed. Do you do things like that? Are you someone that has integrity that even your family members know that, let's not even go to her, she will not take us. Or let's not go to him, you know that you're not going to be employed. Use of information. As an HRCI certification holder, you must consider and protect the rights of individuals. How do we protect the information that we have? Are we very, very discreet about information that is shared with us? Or is it one of those instances where people share things with you and then you quickly run to somebody else and say, do you know that that person did, that person has HIV or something? How are you able to protect the information that is bestowed upon you? Because a lot of people give you these informations with trust that nothing will happen to it and it will not be shared. Nobody else will hear about it. But the minute that HR professionals start to share information like that, there's going to be a lack of trust. Nobody's going to want to tell you anything. And one of the things that you want to do is foster, that relationship with employees. But when that is gone, how do you repair it? How do you tell them that it wasn't us? So it's also how you protect the information. So it might not even be you leaking the information. Maybe you just did not protect it right. And then other people have access to that information. There will be a breach of trust. And that is what the HRCI is saying. So let's start again. To say that we commit to be professionally responsible, to professional development, ethical leadership, fairness and justice, the right use of conflicts of interest, and then use of information. Thank you very much.